hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as a judge.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shortbangers. I'm Matty. Delighted to say joined by John tonight. John, how you doing?
I'm really well. Well, actually, I sound fucking awful, but I'm really well.
We're missing Colin tonight. He's away doing the work jolly, and he sent us a picture of some questions. He's basically doing Shortbangers, but in a corporate environment, isn't he?
Aye, we should take those questions and make it short bangers. Just answer them one by one in a short banger style. That'd be quite funny. I think one of the... Oh, tell you what, if you can bear with me for 1 second, I'll get a couple of the questions up just to give people a flavour for what Colin's up to.
I'm not sure we should share that.
No?
Just for not getting Colin into trouble.
All right, okay. But it's really fucking bland.
I can, but...
If you could live in any country, where would you live? Fuck off.
Aye. Anyway,
New Zealand, by the way.
New Zealand. Is that because they have COVID there?
Actually, do you know, I don't know what their COVID numbers are, because they managed to have a COVID zero status for quite a while. They were quite proud of it.
Aye,
they were one of the first countries to properly open up, and then I think I don't know if they relaxed restrictions or whatever, and then they had a couple of cases and they just fucking spiraled out of control.
Oh, I did it. I thought they were still pretty much COVID free. I've not really been keeping an eye on it. That's bad, eh? Like, do you remember at the start of COVID, every country was like, fucking, you can't how many cases were. Now there's that many. There's like the numbers are that high. If they'd been like that at the start, everybody would have shat in the bed. Now they're just like, I couldn't even pay attention to it.
I remember saying to the missus when it was officially declared a pandemic, so I don't think we'd gone into lockdown yet, so it must have been sort of January, February time where the World Health Organization officially declared that COVID, what was going on in China, Wuhan province was officially a pandemic. And then like you say, totally blasé about it now. For ages, I was looking at there's I think something called Public Tableau, or a Tableau dashboard that the Scottish Government used to detail the cases in all the different regions throughout Scotland, and I never just didn't bother arse. I sometimes in my daily trip into the Daily Mail and the sidebar of shame, like you often see conflicting arguments there of fucking numbers are through the roof, and then another one that says that experts are wrong. So I'm all right. I've had my 2 jags. Be fine.
Well, we're best not dwell on it. There's quite a triggering topic for folk. I think it's like independence. Independence can be quite triggering. And you mentioned independence or somewhere, and it comes in right. And I'm quite very pro independence, but it's one of those subjects. As soon as you mention it, it's like folk come out of nowhere and bombard your timeline.
It's like The Walking Dead. Like for a while, it was the only thing that folk would talk about. Now they're just like, that's fucking shite. Go and let's talk about something else. It's that bloody Ted Lasso or something on Apple TV, I think everyone's talking about now.
I started watching Squid Game night before.
Oh, how are you getting on with it? You enjoying it?
So only 2 episodes in. It's good. We're watching the dubbed version. I don't know if you can switch the subtitles. I can't remember.
Watching on Netflix, aye?
Yeah, I can't remember if I've explained my dilemma with subtitles. I have no problem with subtitled programs and films and that. I say I have no problem with it. I do have a problem with it. Is that Mrs. Matty doesn't put her glasses on to watch them. So, what are they saying? I can't remember if I've talked about this before. You have to read them, but you can't. You feel like you can't just read the subtitle and say, "Kid, I've been at the cinema," or whatever. Or they were shooting everybody, whatever it was. You feel you have to inject some emotion and performance into it.
Gunfire rings out.
And that's more pressure than I want when I want to sit down and watch a fucking programme, eh? So
I would say get Mrs. F to wear her specs and don't switch to the English dubbed version, because the English dubbed version is torture. Well, it's no torture, there's just certain parts of it that's absolute torture.
I think it's funny because I think what they do is rather than translating directly what they've said, they get a rough translation, but then they add or take away words so that it fits in with the mouth movement.
Aye.
So they can lip sync it.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a scene later on and you'll be watching it, and I think regardless of the English subtitles or whether you have it dubbed in English, this scene in particular is English speaking.
Right.
But the Koreans have got English speaking actors in, and whatever they've done, it's just fucking it's shit acting.
Excellent.
And they got pulled up for it. But the actors have come out in defence of it and said, listen, there was a number of different takes, and quite often when you're in a foreign speaking environment, the tone, the intonation, all that sort of stuff, it's just completely lost. So what you get is what you get.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that's watched Squid Game will know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll get to know what I'm talking about.
I'll report back. It was the same with Money Heist. We watched that with the English translation, and it was what made me laugh. Like I liked how some things were sort of like literal translations of phrases that we use. And I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you know, like you would maybe say, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They would say, at 12 midnight when the sun's gone down and the moon is up, it doesn't matter. it's like things like that, but they do the sort of it's the broad meaning, but kind of worded in a way that nobody would actually word it. Anyway, somebody crashed into my car yesterday on Slateford Road. What a fucking prick, eh? And what made it worse, John, is they fucking never stopped. So
no way.
Well,
you got a dash cam?
No. They went in the back of me. Luckily, we were going slow, so it's a 20-mile-an-hour road, and there was this wee white car, and the white car in front of me was probably doing about 18 miles an hour. Right, so it wasn't going fast. We're coming up towards, so I think it's Slayford Road, and driving towards Chester.
Yeah.
Right. So we're coming on there, and then the white car goes, indicates right to turn right off the main road down a wee side street. And so I see it, but I also see in my mirror, this fucker's obviously no happy about having to stick to the speed limit. And so he's getting closer and closer to my bumper. I'm like, I'm going to have to stop here. And they're definitely going to hit my car. And that's exactly what happened. So it wasn't like I made it sound worse than it was.
Yeah.
Like, there was like, you know, you just hear it and you go, oh, fuck her. So I put my hazards on and then just signalled that I was going to follow the white car to go and have a look and stop to talk. And the person just went, fuck away. I was like, yeah, I can't. And it was they were too quick away from me to go out and get a picture of the Reggie or whatever. As it happened, it was one of those bumps that you would have had a look and went, doesn't matter, there's no damage. You know, there was no evidence of a bump or anything, but they should still have stopped. So I hope their car was a bit fucked. That was what I took away for that. Was like, well, my car's fine. I hope your car's at least got a bit of damage to it.
To quote Craig, I hope it's a cold winter. I hate cunts like that.
Hope it's a cold winter. Anyway, right, will we get some questions done?
Let's do it.
Shortbangers, what am I doing? Put a wee timer on. You had much fireworks at your bit while I'm doing this, by the way.
Just a couple. I was saying to the missus there, like, we've got this patch of grass next to us that I used to play football in when I was wee, and it's weird because it's like the old Easter Road slope, but maybe times 100. Like, honestly, it's like playing. You ever seen that picture? Actually, I think it's maybe photoshopped, where you've got like goals and a pitch, and it's basically on the side of a mountain.
Aye.
It's not quite as extreme as that, but there is a hill basically at the side of me where I used to play football, and for whatever reason, folk decided years ago that was going to be the place where they had their bonfire. And maybe for about a fortnight before, you just see like random shit getting piled into the middle of this hill. And a couple of years ago, in fact, I think it was the first year that we moved in here, our bins got nicked, and sure enough, they'd been put on the bonfire. So every year since, we've just taken the bins in and put them on the other side of the fence, because an unlocked gate is a surprising deterrent to the youthful fucking arsonist. But I'm just saying to the wife the other now that there's nothing on that patch of grass. So I think the bins are going to be safe. It looks like nobody's bothering their arse about bonfires anymore.
COVID fucked everything like that. Like lockdown, we were talking about that with Halloween. We had no geysers on Halloween at all.
We had one come to the door, but I had the wee one in my arms at the time. I just got her down to sleep. So I was like, fuck, what do I do? Do I lift her up and try and keep the dog to one side to try and hand over a bag of sweets? So no.
Just ignored them.
We just ignored them.
We had none. I was like, that used to be like one of the busiest nights. Like our area, you would go, we'd take the kids out when they were wee, and as you're going around, you would see loads of families out there, do you know, and not a soul. I think that's well, it's good because it's a pain in the fucking arse, isn't it? Now my kids have grown out of it, and I can be grumpy about it.
I think the problem is that you'll have to show your COVID passport at the door to get a bag of sweets.
I definitely would ask for it. Right. 25 minutes on the clock. We'll see if we stick to that or no. First question, TG Willis, liquid or a bar of soap? What do you prefer?
For eating or drinking?
For washing your hands, presumably.
Excuse me. Do you know, it's been years since I've had a bar of soap. And, you know, I think it used to be a staple in most houses. It was like a wee bar of Imperial leather or some kind of form of soap there. But I think ever since me and the wife got together, it's always been like a wee scooshy.
Hand wash.
Aye.
Bars of soap came back in when the lockdown started because hand wash went. It was every panic bought hand wash, and then we had obviously. I'm always late to the party with panic buying because I didn't believe it. I think it's fucking nonsense. But it did mean that because I never panic bought and got involved with it. When I went to the shop, you could get big multi packs of Dove soap, which lasted fucking ages. So that's what we had. We had bars of soap. The other thing we did, right, with a bar of soap, when my old work, we had a manager join in our team whose name was Barry.
I'm really interested to see where this story about the bar of soap goes.
Well, how is the boy called Barry was joining, a good lad, loads of time for Barry as well. He's got some fucking really funny stories. But we did this quarterly conference. You get everybody in the big conference room. You've got PowerPoint up and you talk through kind of how the business is doing. And I said, we'll need to do something for Baz coming. So I said, well, we'll introduce him. He'll come up and say some words. But as he's saying the words, behind him on the screen, we could put loads of different Barrys up. So we had Barry White, Barry Manilow, and so on. But then it was like Barry Chocolate, a Barry Soap. He went back, so he hadn't quite joined us by that point. I think he went back to his own team and was like, I think these cunts were taking the piss out of me. Well, we weren't really, we were just your initiation. Anyway, took it well.
Could have been worse. Like they had Longbangers initiation. What was it was suggested at the live show? Like shite on your chest.
Oh, I saw that. Brutal. Who said that?
It was the lone female that was there. I don't know what her name was, but she was sitting at Fattest Prickus's table. So that really caught me off guard.
The chat that went on with this question on Twitter, you can get bars of shampoo.
Aye.
My mind was
Weirdly enough,
presumably you're not rubbing it on your head. You'd lather it up in your hands and then wash your hair.
When I went to New Zealand, a couple of friends of mine that were much better travelled than I was, they put together like this wee bag for me. It was kind of like a wee sort of on the road survival kit, if you like. There was like a journal in there. There was a bar of soap. Sorry, it wasn't a bar of soap. It was exactly what you're describing. It was a bar of shampoo, and it was in like a wee almost. Oh, how would I describe it? Like it was almost like it was in a wee tin that you might get mints in, but it was a bar of shampoo, and it was just for like I assumed, perhaps wrongly, that you just rubbed it on your head.
Well,
I've still got the bag kicking about somewhere. It was like in a waterproof bag. I had like a first aid kit, a sewing kit, all sorts in it. It's brilliant.
Bars of soap collect we hair, so don't they? Like how many times you seen a bar? So imagine a
You
bar
say
of
we
shampoo.
hair,
If you
mean pubes?
I know, we all know what I meant. Right? Can you imagine how hairy a bar of shampoo would be if you took that approach to it, John?
Aye. Some things just like that never occur to me.
Port Rush Punk said, how many times did the first Aborigine try to throw a boomerang away before realising that the stick coming back was a good thing?
Is it an urban myth that boomerangs come back? Because it seems a bit weird that you're able to throw something and the curvature of it means that it comes back. It doesn't feel right to me. Instinctively, it doesn't seem like it's going to come back.
I don't think it comes. Well, my experience of boomerangs is never. When I've thrown one, it's never come back. But I would always assume that was just bad technique. There must be something to it. The curve when you throw them, I don't know if they go full circle, like and so you could just catch it again. Do you know what I mean?
That's kind of what I'm looking for because that's what you get. That's what the cartoons told you when you were wee.
Yeah. I don't think that's the case.
Like you throw it away to the east and it would smack you in the head for the west.
Back for the fuck. Maybe that's what happened the first time they did it.
Maybe.
Just looking around to see who threw something at them.
Just gave himself a wee bit of brain damage and did it again.
I'm going to Google that later on, John. I'll maybe look on YouTube to see if anybody can throw a boomerang and get it to come back to their own hand.
I think that's the thing as well. I don't recall ever seeing anything outside of a cartoon or, like an obviously edited TV shot of a boomerang being thrown away and it having that big arc and coming back again. I think it's bullshit.
Aye. I prefer quiet meringues anyway, with like strawberries and cream in it on them.
You
Anyway,
like a meringue, do you?
oh, I fucking love meringue. Like I see an Ian mess. Superb. One of my favourite desserts.
I think my problem with meringues is that when I was younger, at primary school in particular, the meringues that you got dished up were almost like styrofoam, just like a big puffy, like nothing. And it was just tasteless. It was like eating, I don't know, I was going to say like thin air, but I think thin air was probably tastier.
I quite like meringue.
Like fucking shaving foam or something, I don't know. It was just shite.
Cream and strawberries or whatever, or decent. I guarantee you somebody listening will have, in their head at least, if they're not saying it out loud, gone, is that a donut or a meringue? No, you're right, it's a donut.
First time.
Guaranteed, eh? If it's you, well done, you've won £5, not from us, collect it for your wife. Fattest Pricky said, has anyone ever actually met a person called Tarquin in real life?
Did you reply to this on Twitter and say that you had?
No.
Was it someone else?
I'd replied, but was it Tarquin? It was a Torquil. And I was trying to remember where I knew Torquil from, because I definitely maybe worked beside them. The thing is, it would have been McDonald's at HSBC that I would have worked beside them, right? So I didn't think it was school. Colin would be able to tell us. I didn't think it was at school we had a Torquil. Because you'd get a kick in it. Probably high school, if you were called Torquil, you're leaving as soon as you can, because your life would just be a misery. I guarantee there wasn't anybody, unless they were a complete fucking lunatic.
Aye, if they were hard as fuck, they'd be called Big T.
Then they could be called whatever they want, right? But I'm pretty sure if you were Tarquin or Torquil, you wouldn't.
You can't imagine. You can't imagine anyone called Torquil, or was it Tarquin? I think we've said Torquil enough that the
Tarquin
word
was the question.
Aye, Tarquin. I don't think anyone called Tarquin or Torquil has ever had a fight in their pub.
Nah, I probably never worked at McDonald's either.
But you can see someone like that working in finance, so it must be HSBC. That's Sherlock Holmes levels of deducement.
Aye. I'm crap with names and things like that, memories. I've always been shit at it. But definitely, I can't even picture what they look like. I just remember the name, because obviously you would remember somebody that was called Torquil.
Someone like Tarquin would fight like this.
Oh, aye. Like
Queensberry rules, aye.
Do the gesture.
Ask you to put your dukes up.
Have you ever met a Tarquin?
No, I don't think so.
I'm sure Tarquin or Torquil was the name of one of the kids in the Modern Parents in the Viz. And actually, they were like the Modern Parents were like sort of your vegan. They'd be super woke kind of things, vegan, hippie, call their kids things like Torquil or Tarquin and so on.
Aye.
I don't think that counts as meeting somebody if you've just read it in the Viz, so.
Probably no.
Nah. Tony Swanson says, when will Scottish teams say feck Old Firm, grow balls and do what's best for the league? Soon, I hope.
Aye, hopefully soon. I do have the optimist in me believes that Ron Gordon's introduction, I think they've got is it a steering group he's got with, is it Dave Cormack? I think someone for
Aye.
Is it someone for Dundee United? I forget the fourth team, but I'm hopeful of progress there.
Ben knows everything. He had a good go at Rangers this week. The blue side in Glasgow, which seemed to wind them up. I quite enjoyed that. It was like one of the pineapples, as Ron Burgundy calls them. Just launching a pineapple into the equation. That came for the blue side of Glasgow.
I missed the connection between Brian Highlander and the fact that, or I'm assuming that he's the freelance journalist that I think it was Tracy Smith had referred to. It's actually a Rangers fan for up that neck of the woods that had gotten the blower to Daily Record HQ.
Aye. What pricker? Imagine doing that. Imagine going, oh, okay, what I'm going to do? I'm going to phone the fucking papers. Fuck off. Right,
Surprised he
Mel.
never tweeted it first. Like that's the modern day going to
Aye.
the papers, eh?
Well, that's probably what I would have done.
Dear at
You-
Hibernian
you
FC, I
go right
saw
on fucking
three of
Twitter.
your employees.
I wouldn't be tagging folk in on it. I would just be going, check this out. See if it was like the Hearts or whatever. Guaranteed you'd be going, for that. Just put it out there just to be a nuisance.
Here's a question then. What sort of journalist are you if you didn't take pictures of that, of what he alleges that he saw?
A shite one. Aye. Right, Mel Clements. If brown sauce is called brown sauce, why is tomato sauce called ketchup?
Do you ever get the piss ripped at you for saying brown sauce?
Nah. That's what
I
it is,
have-
brown sauce, isn't it?
I have previously had the piss ripped at me for saying brown sauce, but in my house growing up, it was you had your red sauce and you had your brown sauce, and that was it. That was your two choices. There wasn't the array of condiments that you get today.
Nah.
You know, you get your barbecues, your sweet chilies, your sriracha, whatever. And I think I must have went into a friend's house and they said, "What sauce do you want? Brown." Like, brown sauce? Do you mean HP? I assume so. Don't know.
What colour is the HP? That's what she said. What colour is the HP? Brown. Well, fucking
Exactly.
brown sauce then.
Aye, but
So-
well, must be in their house that they call it HP and ketchup.
Aye. Definitely call it ketchup. Didn't call it red sauce. I was saying I got there's a wee bacon roll van near the dockyard in the Scythe. And so sometimes we go down there on a Thursday morning to get a roll. And Jane has one with ketchup on it, and he writes red on the bag to verify which one's got the ketchup on it. But then if you're writing it, suppose red short and write ketchup on it.
Do they put the ketchup on themselves or the red
Yeah.
sauce? Oh, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I have bacon and egg roll. So bacon and egg roll has no sauce on it because the yolk for the eggs the sauce. So it doesn't bother me. If it was mine, I'd probably whip put the sauce on myself.
I find it weird. I actually have a wee bit, I wouldn't call it a low tolerance level as such, but see if you go out to a restaurant, and I use the term restaurant loosely, so let's say Frankie and Benny's or a chain or whatever, and they ask you if you want sauce, and then they come out with like the sachets, or it's like a wee like ramekin dish or whatever. Just bring me the fucking bottle.
Aye.
Like
The
I
wee-
want as much sauce as
The
I
wee
want.
Sachets are the fucking worst things. They're fiddly as fuck for a start. But
They'll
then
bring you
there's
three.
there's never enough in it. It's just like, fuck. Who's like, again, you got like a big plate of chips and you get one sachet fucking sauce for
Aye.
it, and you're going, that's shite. Like, you're as well no bothering. Fuck
Aye.
me.
So I apply that if I was ever to go to a roll van. Like let me put the sauce on myself. Like your overheads can't, or your profit margins can't be so thin that I can't put the sauce on myself.
Aye, exactly. Chef to answer this one says, weirdly, I actually know this ketchup came from a Chinese word used for a similar sauce.
Well, weirdly, to expand on that, I saw something recently, but I can't remember the exact details, and it's about the transition or the movement of ketchup as we know it today and how it originated in China and moved somewhere else before it kind of became westernized. So there you go.
Aye, decent.
I'll see if I can find out more detail about that.
Deshoes asked, how long can our fantastic COVID game streak last? So unbeaten in however many
Unbeaten
postponed
in-
games. Two.
Unbeaten in one.
The Muser next game's the semi-final, isn't it?
Aye, that's a bit of a weird one, eh? Like the squad's absolutely riddled with COVID, and the first game back we've got is an all or nothing tie against Rangers in the semi-final.
Andy says, if you could replace one word in the English language, what word would you replace, and what would you replace it with?
Can I replace disingenuous with? I don't know if I'll get away with. Can I get away with 2 words or 3 words to replace one?
I think so. I think that would work in a dictionary, would it? There's no. Does the dictionary contain any 3-word phrases in it?
So if I explain the context, you might allow me it. So I really like the word disingenuous. Like you're being disingenuous with the truth. No, you're being a fucking liar. I want to replace disingenuous with a fucking liar.
I used to work beside the boy for Falkirk, who, like, this isn't particularly politically correct, so I apologise in advance, right? But it wasn't me. I just liked the way that he positioned it. You know, when a word surprises you, he was describing a little person, right? You know, whether that was a dwarf or a midget, or I don't know the correct term for it. The word that he used was a fatumsh.
Fatumsh.
A fatumsh. And it takes a monumental struggle for me not to use that word in that context anytime that it happens, because it stuck with me. So to make it okay for me to do that, that's the swap that I would do, because then it would be politically correct, because that would just be the word that everybody used for them.
Is that a word you'd ever heard before?
No, I
I
don't
think it was
so.
made up.
Yeah, all words are made up.
That's very true. What I mean is, like, did they make it up on the spot?
Oh, I don't
Or,
know. I don't know.
like,
I think he had history of calling them that. That was the impression that I got. This was the same boy that thought, I was telling Colin about it, thought beef hula hoops were the closest you could get to eating a steak without eating a steak. He was a good lad, like. He's one who I never kept in touch with after he left, and I wish I did, and I can't remember his name. So you couldn't even go and find him like on Facebook or Twitter or whatever.
some boy was, what's his name?
Aye. I suspect, given the type of person he was, he would be fucking totally anti-Facebook and Twitter anyway. He's probably totally off the grid now. He's one of these guys that just was like, fuck it, just...
Do you reckon he's got a cabin in Falkirk or something, or up in the Highlands? I don't know why I said Falkirk when I was thinking Montana for some reason. I just thought of, what's his name?
Up by the Kelpies.
The Unabomber. Maybe he's living in the heat of one of the Kelpies.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think it was called Barry. Again, another Barry. I don't know if I think that because we were talking about Barry earlier, but I have it in my head. He had glasses. He looked a wee bit like Paul Hartley, but with better hair and thinner.
Did Paul Hartley have good hair?
No. Barry had better hair than Paul Hartley, like as did 99% of the population.
Right. So his hair actually doesn't narrow him down at all.
No, just his facial features look like Paul
the boy had glasses. He might have been called Barry.
It's like
that's all you need to know.
Folk are sitting with a Guess Who board going, "Oh, fucking, you need to do better than that." To eliminate folk.
There's police e-fit artists out there that are just scratching their heads right now.
By the way, how easy in a job would it be to be a police e-fitter? Because there's zero expectation that you're going to produce anything that looks remotely like a fucking person. Always like when they're going crime watch, we're looking for this person, you're going, fuck, it would be easy to spot. Look at them.
Aye, there's a really good meme that goes around Twitter on occasion where someone, I think it was like an 8-year-old, drew a picture of the criminal, the assailant, the robber or whatever. And it's an 8-year-old's drawing. I need to find it.
Did you ever watch Manifest? It was on Sky One.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, you talked about that. You said that it was really good.
No.
Oh, no, you said no. Did you say it was good? Or you said that the plot was really fun?
The premise is good. The execution of the premise is fucking diabolical, but at points hilariously bad. And there's a bit where there's a kid in it, draws a picture. He's kind of... Well, they attach undue significance to this picture initially. There's no grounds for that. It turns out, obviously, that it is significant, the picture, but at the time you're going, well, that wouldn't fucking happen. Look at the picture, and it's the shittest picture of a place you've ever seen, and they work out where the place is, and you're going, that would fucking never happen. Never. Anyway, e-fits, they're... You think, see if anybody looked like that, you would know they were criminals. You wouldn't go near them in the first place. You would look at that fucking person. They're not even human. But if you were the police, they must be the easiest people to catch going. Apart from Jihadi John, who I was amazed lasted as long as he did without folk catching him, given that his name is Jihadi John.
Aye.
Right, Andy says, why is there so many languages? Surely everyone in the world would get on better if we could all speak the same language.
It's a good question. But then, if we did, we wouldn't have we wouldn't have hilarious misunderstandings when
Aye, like when you're dubbing something from one language to the other.
aye, or even when even when someone where English isn't their first language and they say something very literal. Like you were describing earlier, actually, with
Yeah.
I think was it like at the end of the day it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Aye.
Or you wouldn't have like deja vu, for example, unless everyone was speaking French. If French didn't exist, deja vu wouldn't exist. Well, the expression for it, the phenomenon still would, but the expression wouldn't.
I
C'est la
wonder if
vie.
deja vu is universal in all languages despite being French. So you know how like in Gaelic, for example, modern terms are said in English because there isn't a Gaelic equivalent for it. So I wonder
Yeah.
if in Mandarin, for example, they say deja vu.
That's a fucking good question.
Or in Spanish, is it deja vu? Like in Spain, is an afternoon nap still a siesta, or have they got their own word for it, or is siesta universal?
Well, they definitely would siesta because they don't change their word for it. We've just borrowed it. But would they call it siesta in Japan?
Aye, so that's what I'm getting at.
Text in at 80295. The answer, if you know it, if you do speak Mandarin, text in what you say for deja vu. Right, Fats Pricky says, if an excellent, good value restaurant existed, but the drawback was that whatever you asked for, they took it too literally, would you visit? So, for example, I'll have the spotted dick equals penis acne, toad in the hole, please, means a kick up the arse, just a cream pie, pal, bareback ride, etc.
I really can't imagine having acne on my bobby. Like that'd be pretty hard going. Because it's hard enough trying to get a ride when your face is covered in it.
Aye, would you? Probably spend a good chunk of the day bursting the.
Oh, but spots in your cock, like that's. You ever get an ingrown hair in your sack? Like getting rid of that is painful enough.
There's some folk who I can't remember if we've talked about this before. Some folk are right into bursting spots. I mind when I was in my teens, my mum would grab me and go, "Oh, you've got a beezer there," and she would fucking burst. The thought of it now gives me the poke. But Colin shared something on the group mind, but on our WhatsApp where there's a program, isn't there? He was talking about
Pimple Popper.
I'll move on because I'll actually feel like vomiting at the thought of it. It's just disgusting.
What literal things can you think of at the restaurant? And where's Alex eating that he's getting spotted dick?
Oh, chlamydia cafe.
Scorpio Leisure.
The best ones are going like spotted. I'm trying to think of other kind of amusingly named foods, but
Coco Van.
Oh, coq au vin, yeah.
Get taken out the back and
Get knob in a transit. Away it goes. Well, I wouldn't eat there. No, I think if you'd have to be very careful what you ordered. And then how would you take, like, if you were having spaghetti carbonara, for example, how would you take that literally?
I don't know, but if you asked for the bill, would they bring out Bill?
Or
Alfie at the back?
or the cast of the 1980s police drama?
Aye. Or a duck's bill. And do you know what? When Alex had asked it, it reminded me of a segment on what's it called, Athletico Mince, where they go to the meat restaurant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the darts player, isn't it? What's he called? Adrian Lewis or something, is it? Is that who they...
I'm not sure. I just love it because they managed to hold up that gruff voice for as long as they do.
Yeah. So, right, I maybe misunderstood Alex's question here. So I was thinking when you ordered it, it happened, right? So I'll have the spotted dick. But I think maybe it's like an unintended, like, so maybe you don't get it there and then. Maybe you have spotted dick, which is in the traditional pudding. But later on, when you having your post-meal
your penis.
bowel evacuation, you look down and you go, oh, fucking hell, I've got spotted dick now. In which case, if the spotted dick was the best spotted dick that you'd ever eaten, or the best toad in the hole, and you knew at some point further down the line you'd have to have the consequence, would you still go and eat there? I was thinking it was more immediate initially, but now I'm thinking about it, I think Alex, meaning it'll come later. like a food karma thing.
I probably would avoid the spotted dick, but I'm a sucker for a bit of cock over.
All right, we've only got a few questions left, so we'll just carry on. I was going to end it because the timer went, but let's just keep going. Dorlisa said, "Do clouds get to pick their shape?"
No, but just for a laugh, can you imagine that there's someone looking down on us with an etch-a-sketch with all the clouds, like just fucking with us?
How come some clouds go right high up and other ones didn't?
Ambition.
Just ambitious clouds. See, the other day when it was like, when did we play Celtic? Last Wednesday, when it was pissing down. How can there possibly be that much fucking water held in the sky for that long? Like, long enough to fucking launch down at that volume for that long?
It's a really good question. I don't know.
No.
Because you'd imagine that there's some sort of, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology here, but tensile strength of a cloud. Or like a sponge can only hold so much water before it can hold no more.
Yeah.
How much water can a cloud actually hold?
Yeah. It fucking annoyed me that. I was like, surely you've run out. That's what I was thinking. I was like, surely you must have run out by now.
Angry man points at sky.
I was, oh, fuck's sake. That's too much. You've gone too far with this.
You're fucking taking the piss now.
Charlie Banks, name your 5 go-to songs on the jukebox.
ABBA, Dancing Queen.
You were going to stop there, eh? I was like,
I'm thinking. I hope
how did I
remember
rephrase 5 here so John understands?
When was it? It was after. I don't know what we've been doing, but we ended up. It was after the Hibs Rangers beanbag thing at Easter Road. So me, Sean, my mate, Budgie, Raymond, and his son, we ended up going out to a boozer out in Curry near where Raymond stays. And for a laugh, he was inspired to go and put, I'm sure it was Dancing Queen on the jukebox, and he put it on. I think it was 6 times in a row.
Okay, how did you turn it off?
I can't remember. I'm sure Raymond will tweet in and tell us, but it reminded me of an article that I read once in something called Vice. I don't know if you've ever read it online. And it was about a guy who went to this really shitty bar. I want to say it was in America or Canada. And he put Thin Lizzy, The Boys Are Back in Town on repeat every time he went in there to the point where they actually took it out of the jukebox. But that inspired me. I don't know how I managed to stumble across it, but there's a Twitter feed that tweets out the lyrics to The Boys Are Back in Town. And I follow it just to get that little snippet of the little bit of lyrics. Makes my day a little bit brighter.
Back in the day, we nearly got kicked out of Deacon Brodie's. Deacon Brodie's used to have a good jukebox. Talking Britpop explosion times 94, 95, around about then. Well, 96 actually, because we were in Scotland, we were playing Wales, I think, at the rugby. And Deacon Brodie's, I think, must be a big fucking rugby place. It was fucking rammed, right? Friday night. So we used to go there when I worked at McDonald's, we'd go in there and then go down to Evil and the liquid rooms, right? Friday nights. Always same routine. And we would have kind of a right good night. But we were in, and we've been in for hours, so pretty fucking steaming. Place is full of fucking rugby, Scottish and Welsh. And we put 3 Lions on just to see what would how it would go down. So the Baddiel Skinner 96 song. I think it got 4th or 5th. It's coming home at the start when the bar staff came over and just put the power off in the jukebox and told us if we went near it again we were getting kicked out.
It's hard though with a jukebox because I think anytime you want to put something on, and you probably don't just put one song, and you maybe go for like the 3 for £1 or
Aye.
I don't know, like 10 for £3 or whatever it is. You kind of want to give an insight into your musical taste, but you also want to have a wee bit of rhythm to go with it as well. So you kind of want to have as much in that selection of songs as possible.
Oh, there's a lot of pressure in your jukebox selection. There is, because you did get slaughtered for it. Eh? So, right, 5 songs between us. So you went for Dancing Queen, right?
Aye. Are you going to go for another one now? Because you were looking at me expectantly then.
Well, so genuine answers. If I would probably go for either Rock and Roll Star or What's the Story, Morning Glory from Oasis. Right, so you get to pick number 3. I'll go with What's the Story, Morning Glory.
I'm going to go... Oh, God. Gangster's Paradise, LL Cool J. No, it's not LL Cool J. It's, what's his name?
Coolio, was it? They did it?
Coolio, that was it.
I'll go Laid by James. And you get number 5.
Root Down by the Beastie Boys.
Ooh, good shout. Good shout. Okay. Volume asked, what deluxe shade is Ben Knows Everything? Tahiti Sunrise or Iberian Sunset?
Caramel Dream.
I would love to tan like that, by the way. I used to when it was we used to like get a great tan. Now I didn't burn with any tan. I just kind of pretty much stay the same colour regardless.
I went golfing with my adopted dad for his birthday back in July, and had the polo neck in that one. And I got a beautiful tan, but it was like proper golfer's tan. Like it's just hands.
T-shirt tan.
Aye, and nothing like everything else. But it was so dark for so long, and it like they're still there. Like there's still that T-shirt line, and we're almost, we're not kicking arse of Christmas, to be fair.
Bloody hell.
I'm probably still be there come next year when I need to top it up again.
Andy says, who decided that a working week should be 5 days, and what would you do to the prick if you ever met him or her for gender equality purposes? It's a total arbitrary thing. Was it post-war? Because they did. There's a proper answer, because they went down when there was like an economic crisis. I'll get this all fucking wrong, and my dad will be looking at listening to this and shaking his head in disappointment. So I think when times were tough, they shortened the working week, and then they increased it further down the line. So your Monday to Friday became the norm. But I don't think it always was. I think for a period of time it was kind of decreed it should be shorter.
Someone was telling me that out here, the reason for the gala days is that it was the one day of the year that the men got off their work. That was an opportunity for them to spend time with their families, have a drink and have a bit of laugh or whatever, because the other 364 days of the year apparently they worked.
I would be fucking livid if the only day that I got off was on fucking gala day. Gala days are shit.
They're shit now, but they might have meant something 80, 90, 100 years ago.
If you were like me and you hate gala days, you would be fucking raging. Like, what you did your day off? Fuck all. I'm staying in the house. I fucking hate you all. I might just work, might do overtime that day.
I wonder if you got decent rates for overtime back then.
I doubt it.
What do you want to come into your work for? There's fucking shows out there.
They talk about work's more flexible nowadays anyway, isn't it? There's loads of folk do 4-day weeks and things like that. I'm a big advocate of the 4-day week. I loved it when I did that. I'm back to 5 days now. The only thing, apart from the people, because I wish some of the folk that work beside, the 4-day week is the biggest thing, because we had that 4-day weekend we got every other week. It was fucking amazing. And now having a 2-day weekend every week, it just flies in. I miss it so much.
The thing about your weekend is you need to do something on the Friday night. You can't just go home and have a pizza or something. You need to make your Friday night worthwhile to make your weekend stretch you that little bit longer. But also, I was going to ask, with the 4-day week, do you find yourself on the Sunday getting the same fear that you do with a 2-day weekend?
Nah. So the way that we worked it, right, I should have explained this before. 1 week you did Monday to Thursday, and that week you finish on the Thursday, but you didn't start the next week till Tuesday. You did Tuesday to Friday that week. So you were off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right?
Oh, decent.
Then you do Tuesday to Friday, have Saturday, Sunday off, and then go back in on the Monday. But you're only working to the Thursday, and you had a 4-day week again, a 4-day weekend. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. I would recommend every employer does it, because your staff will love you forever for it.
Do you think we'll ever move to that way of working? It seems to be getting
Aye.
folk are touting it.
Yeah, well, there was talk with the government the Scottish government looking to make a 4-day weekend in Scotland, but I can. I don't know how they would force businesses in it. Like, they would maybe say this is what the norm is. So if you work for the council or the government, you were all right. But for the rest of us, in the private sector, it would be totally down to the whim of your employer.
So no.
So no. Aye. Okay, right. Jeff Ashton says, how long before that everybody hates us, but we don't care, but are actually incredibly sensitive fans? Club issues a statement re King Ben's interview.
Well, I think maybe the Danish police saw the brunt of it tonight.
Did they? What happened? There was there trouble crossing Bromby? Was there?
I don't know exactly what happened. However, the police did have their batons drawn, and it looked like there was a few folk getting their arse scalped.
I wonder if the wee boy that adopted in the Hibs was over there, kind of taking names and that his fellow
He's
fans.
phoning up the Daily Record about it.
Aye.
No pictures.
By the way, no pictures. These fans were up to no good. Kaiser Susie said, if you could have a global conference on something you would like sorted, what would it be?
The radio blanking out swear words in really good songs.
Including pre-watershed.
Yeah.
So just at any time. So,
aye.
All right. Aye, I can get on board with that.
It makes no sense to me and it seems to be arbitrary the way that it's applied. So, for example, Rihanna's got a song. The lyrics in it are something about whips and chains excite me. You couldn't hear that on Fourth, but you would hear it on Capital. If there's definitely couldn't hear it on Fourth, but there was other radio stations that you could hear the lyrics as well. But there was also remember Electric Six Gay Bar?
Yeah.
That whole song almost was completely unlistenable on the radio because it said, I want to take you to a gay bar. What was it? There was other lyrics as well. Nuclear war. Start a nuclear war. That was the lyrics in Electric Six Gay Bar, and it was blanked on the radio. Like, who's going to be inspired to start a nuclear war by listening to that? It doesn't make any sense.
You ever found out what Kim Jong Un's favourite song is, by the way? Just coincidentally, as you mention it.
Answer about Pyongyang.
Aye. I would do something about dickheads.
Spotted dick.
So the climate crisis, very noble cause and everything like that, right? But imagine if you could just have a big conference where all the world leaders just agreed not to be dickheads themselves, but to do something about dickheads. So do you know, like, is
that not just COP26? Like, they're got like all the people that turn up and that are in charge of being able to do something about this don't do anything about it.
Aye. But that life, much better would your life be without dickheads? So if somebody crashed into you, for example, they would stop and check that everything was all right before they fucked off. When you went to the supermarket, folk wouldn't leave the rubbish in the trolley before you get your trolley. Or folk would sanitize their hands. Like they went to everybody sanitized their hands like fuck at the start of COVID. Now, see when you go into the Tesco's, that nobody does it. I still do. But I have a thing about hand hygiene anyway. We've covered this before. Fucking leaving a toilet seat clean, for example. No fucking. We went to. It was in Crowley's in Musselburgh with my mum and dad on last Saturday, and it's lovely. Food was terrific and everything. I went to the toilet, and you would have seen the neck of the fucking the two cubicles. One of them, the seat was hanging off, and the other one was. I don't care how you could possibly make such a mess of a fucking toilet. I don't care if you were steaming or whatever, you go, maybe. But it was the middle of the afternoon, like nobody's that fucked that they've gone in, just gone, I'm going to pass you over this. And there's toilet paper on the seat. Do you know, like his toilet paper is intended for inside the toilet. That's half on the seat and half in the fucking bowl. How do you leave a fucking bog unless you're a dickhead? And that's why I would have a conference about dickheads. Because then that stuff wouldn't happen. They would just go, okay, what? I don't need to leave this bog like a fucking midden. I'm going to be a dickhead.
I I back your cause. However, I think it's maybe too varied. I wonder if you maybe need to start on individual causes first, rather than just blanket dickheads.
Nah,
Toilet dickheads.
start on the dick. Start on dick because that'll cure loads of issues. Because that's the root cause is dickheadedness, and the other stuff is the consequence of it. So if you
Alright, okay.
deal with it, so you would have like fucking people who didn't indicate on roundabouts, or suddenly start indicating roundabouts. Everybody's fucking happy. Folk
But what I
who
mean is the
folk
guy
who
that
can't see a tweet without being fucking angry about it and tagging the person in and going fucking right, fucking gone in an instant. Dickheads, both.
But what I mean is the guy that the guy that forgets to indicate the roundabout, or the guy who deliberately doesn't indicate the roundabout, isn't necessarily the person that pishes all over the pan in the toilet.
No, it doesn't matter. They're different people, but they're both fixed, aren't they? Because of the conference.
Aye.
Obviously, the conference is there to pass the legislation and that.
Checking.
We wouldn't exist. The
Johnson's one of
podcast would
guys
end instantly, right enough, Ken. We'd be fucked.
Boris Johnson definitely pishes all over the toilets. Yeah.
Oh, aye, 100%. He'd probably piss in his hands to save himself fucking time washing them. You know,
He uses the overhand technique when he's pissing.
aye, 100%. Or the leaning against the wall.
I don't think. Have you ever done that?
Nah,
You ever felt the need?
never.
Is it a weird power stance thing, or is it like to try and generate a stream? Like,
Again, I never understood it. I never understood why. Who's taught them to do that? Surely, because most of the stuff we do, we've is learned behaviour.
aye, how are there so many different techniques to having a slash?
I don't know. But definitely the hand up above you, leaning on the wall, as you lean. I'm like, fuck it. Surely that's not necessary. Like, what is it improving? Unless they've got fucking
It's not gravity.
tiny knobs in the cat, like they've not got kind of, like you said, they've not got enough of a stream to fucking fire into the bowl.
There should be. There should be like a wee business card for a urologist for every guy that puts his hand there. Like a wee sticky one, so he goes, "Oh, what the fuck's that?"
What's the etiquette if you ask somebody, excuse me, mate, why are you doing that? Like, do you think that would be frowned upon? Is that likely to get you a hook?
They might accidentally turn around and piss all over you.
Aye, that's a weird way to pish, mate. Why are you doing that?
Do you know, I might make an effort to ask the next person I see doing that. Like both the overhanded and the leaning up against the wall techniques. Mate, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Well, that's if I can ever pee outside of a cubicle, of course.
Aye.
It'll just be awkward if there's two of us in there.
Paul Mackay says, Lazy Susans, it's a circular thing that you move around to get a glass or dish without moving yourself. Who is Susan and why was she so lazy?
I reckon Susan was a harassed housewife back in 1950s America, and she'd been tinkering in the garage when her man was at work. Then she just got fed up of his shit. So when he came home and said, pass the such and such, she went, get it your fucking self.
Or or it was maybe presumed that she was lazy, but in actual fact she was devising a fucking really clever mechanism on the table that she could just put stuff down on and whiz it around. Fucking woof, have that. Here's your drink.
I'm trying to think of the lazy. I think when I thought of the lazy Susan earlier when I saw this question, it was like an afternoon tea kind of deal, but it was like a sort of stack thing with the plates and they all sort of moved around. But you're saying it's like a sort of round table thing?
Oh, I thought it was you put you so your table, your glasses on the table, you move the. I need to fucking investigate this.
I wonder if it's a bit like
around.
if you go to like Yo Sushi, for example, it's like a sort of conveyor belt thing.
I think it's that sort of idea. There's a bell.
No, hang on. It's almost like a wee sort of turntable in the middle of your table.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The mechanism that you spin round. There's a Bell and Sebastian song called Lazy Line Painters. It's a good song. It's the first Bell and Sebastian song I ever heard. That was the one that got me into them.
Susan Kowalski, that was her name, 1950s America.
Kowalski, that's a good name. There's a Primal Scream song called Kowalski.
Third generation.
Maybe called Vanishing Point, actually, but the lyrics are Kowalski.
What's the name of the song? Sorry.
Maybe called Vanishing Point. Anyway, the lyrics are Kowalski, which I think is it's for a film like Bullet or something like that. I'll show up how uncultured I am. I'm sure it's something that maybe Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen's in Bullet Eye. But you say the song was Vanishing Point.
Yeah.
Song by New Order.
No, Primal Scream.
All right, there's an extended edition here. We'll get a listen later.
Aye, good song. We got that album free at Liquid Room on cassette when it came out. So it's on, is it Exterminator? Or maybe called Vanishing Point, that album. Maybe think it's a different album. One of them, Primal Scream, we got the whole album free on cassette one night in Liquid Rooms. They were handing it out as you were going in as a promo thing.
Decent.
Aye, it was good. Back when you had a Sony Walkman. Alistair Taylor's had ever done something arse about face accidentally. The other day I tried to put my cup of tea in the fridge and drink the milk carton.
Aye, I'm trying to think of specific examples. But I've definitely done something like that in the not too distant past.
I used to be brilliant at not doing stuff like that, but I definitely have done it more often as I've got older. You just do something, you think, what the fuck have I just done with something? And you go, putting stuff in the fridge is typical. Or I'm trying to think what else we would have done it. Putting stuff away, because try to do things in a hurry all the time. That's a problem. So you just do stuff and you're like, the fuck have I done that for?
Aye, so
you have to undo it.
Definitely tried to put. I'm pretty sure that I've put diluting juice into cereal before, or put the diluting juice in the fridge and the milk in the cupboard.
Mm-hmm. Aye, done that before. Don't put the kettle in the fridge yet. That'll probably happen now. Arse about face is a good expression, or arse over tip.
Aye, I wonder what the Korean or Mandarin or French literal translation of that is.
Somebody can text it 80295. Ray, so this isn't really a question. He sent in a Christmas song.
He never sends questions, does he?
Well, he has his question next.
Within conundrums.
I think this to the tune of Last Christmas by Wham. It was to George Michael on his own, was it? Wham that did Last Christmas. I'm not going to sing it, I'm just going to read out what he's texted in. Tweeted, last Christmas was Livy away. The very next day, out from the bevy. This year to save us from tears, we're going to sing Chris Mueller. And I think came what time Ray went to the pub this afternoon. But I always thought that was a weird song. Last Christmas I gave you my heart. And then the very next day, what the line should be is, you're dead from significant fucking trauma.
Aye.
You can't give somebody, that's fucking ridiculous. They wouldn't even live to the next day if you gave somebody your heart.
No, it's quite an impressive feat, the way to just I'm curious whether it was self-surgical or whether they just kind of plunged their hand into their chest. And
like in Temple of Doom.
Aye, just see
just fucking get your hands right in there. Would you be grateful? Is that a romantic gesture? If a bird came out to you, a bird. It's terrible. Right, I'm going to correct myself because this is not the Dark Ages, John. If a lady or a guy came up to you and said, I love you, here's my heart, and then produced their actual heart, that's not going to be something you're going to go, oh, that's fucking magic. You're going to be repulsed. I would think, I wouldn't want to touch it for a start, because you'd be like, well, if you need that back, unless I just sanitize my hands, there's all sorts of issues that could fucking happen there. But what are you going to do with it?
It would make more sense. It would make more sense if you were to do something like that at Halloween.
Rather than Christmas. Aye. It would be a fucking disappointing gift. Do you know, if you were sitting, you're like, oh, wouldn't you shake the box? What's in here? I don't know.
Do you imagine,
it'd be like Seven, the film Seven, it'd be kind of like that.
What's in the box?
You just screaming, fucking, what the fuck have you given? This isn't a good Christmas present. It's like when your cat brings you back a fucking sparrow or something.
Aye. Imagine trying to hang on long enough just to see the object of your affections open up that bloodstained box.
Dare it yourself, squeezing some just to keep alive long enough to see it. You go, I thought you would like it.
No, I can't imagine anyone that would appreciate a human heart as a gift, as an object of your affection.
And the thing was, she gave it away. She was even that. I can understand her getting rid of it, but who wants a second-hand heart? Like, do you know, like, oh, I got this for my Christmas, but I didn't really want it. Do you want it? And somebody else is taking it off her hands.
But what's worse is giving it away worse than the fact that she held on to it for at least 24 hours.
But it was Christmas Day, wasn't it? So nothing's open on Christmas
buses
Day. Aye.
To wait for them.
Boxing Day was the earliest opportunity. She could pay it.
Should they wait for the Boxing Day sale so she could take it in and exchange it for something else?
I wonder what she got for it. Sorry, Walkman.
Any Lizzie Duke earrings.
Ray said, what's your favourite scaffold and where was it?
Why is that? I can't think of any scaffolding.
I always have the fear with scaffolding. Can you hear about it falling down? Kind of like it's happened before. Scaffolding's collapsed and caused all sorts of fucking issues. That's one of the things. Like, so I'm not great with bridges. You know, like I have like an irrational fear of things that stickers. I think I've covered this before. I didn't like sticky things, right? I kill it as a bit today. Sticky things give me the book, right? But I'm not scared of them. Just don't like them. Bridges, I'm no big fan of. But obviously, like living in Fife and having to commute to Edinburgh, you kind of get used to it. Like you just deal with it. But scaffolding, I'm always wary. I hate it. I hate walking under scaffolding or walking past it. I would say for that reason, I've not got a favourite one because all of them give me the fear a bit that that could collapse at any time and then you're fucked.
I don't think I was bothered about bridges at all until there was that bridge collapse in Genoa. And I happened to watch, I think I watched the video footage after I felt the way that I felt coming from Fife towards Edinburgh, coming over the Queensferry crossing. And I just thought to myself, this could collapse under me at any point. And ever since then, it's been in my head that that bridge could collapse at any point. And I think, well, I mean, you'd be dead. Like, you just would be.
Aye.
But it's not so much the dying that bothers me. It's that couple of seconds where you're in the motor thinking, I'm going to fucking die.
See, if you right, I can't answer this one, right? But I just like to. This is the kind of thing that you think about, though. So, say you're going over the Queensferry crossing, it's pretty fucking high up. Right? This is like the first problem you've got. But if it collapsed, you were going down the car. So when the car hits the water, it's bearing the brunt of the impact. Do you have a chance then of being able to get out the car and then if you're lucky enough not to be killed by drowning, would you be all right? Like, I suppose it would depend how, like if the car went, so it's like if you fell at the same rate, do you know how like things drop at the same rate, right? Because of the way the gravity works and everything. So if you're on a bit of tarmac,
because of the gravity,
because of the gravity, if the whole section fell and went down in a winner, right? So basically, you're accelerating towards the ground at the same speed as the bit of bridge that you're on. If it fell horizontally, like it did the tip,
everything remained flat.
When you hit, when you hit the water, would you be all right?
I asked a very well. It wasn't a similar question because mine's involved a swimming pool full of jelly and someone being dead centre in it. And if it was dropped from the sky and landed on the ground, presumably the swimming pool would break, and then would you not be cushioned by the jelly? And someone threw in terminal velocity, and I just agreed with them and said, "I fine, like you probably would die, and you could never test it anyway."
Yeah,
but would you? I don't know. Like if all things were as you if all things were as you described, the bridge would hit the water. That would presumably take some of the impact. The wheels in your car, they would presumably burst because of everything coming down and then having, stop.
Yeah. But
what was it? There was a really good
because it's water. It's not like hitting. So there's Gavin. I know there's no loads of give when you hit water at pace, like it is like sword, but it's not like you're coming on like a totally solid thing. So even then, there's some of the impact, like the energy for the impact would be, it's not going straight through the wheels up into the rest of the car. I'd be interested to know what would happen there. I'm not to the point where we're going to try to break the Queensferry crossing or anything like that, right? But
I wonder if there's a way
might Google it later on.
Aye, I wonder if you can. I'd love to see your search history after that.
You must be able to replicate it, though, like to scale.
Presumably. But I
somebody
don't know how you would.
Somebody could do it and film it and then stick it on Twitter.
What would you do? Would you get like a wee matchbox, or would you get something bigger? And I don't know. Would you get like a bathtub and a brick?
Yeah, let's go with that. Right. Anyway, favourite scaffold? None. Scared of them. Dave Graham said the pen thing that has like 5 different colours. What colour is your go-to? There's surely only one answer here. Yeah, green.
Green, and then I try and jam all 5 of them down at once.
How marvellous were those pens when you were Rero? Like how just full of wonder where you're like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. It's like one pen, but look at all the different colours.
It was like living in the 21st century.
My favourite thing about it was the way that when you clicked one, it's like one, obviously the old one disappeared and the new one came down.
Aye.
It's fucking clever, that.
Just sitting there going, click.
Write something. Oh. Fucking easy, please, do. Have you ever unscrewed them?
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Aye, the mechanism's a lot simpler.
Aye.
Than you imagined.
Never meet your heroes, eh? That's the moral of that story. Right, last question of the night comes to Neil Renton, who got this in just in time. What's the thoughts on novelty briefs? Asking for a friend who got tipped for owning Pringle pants.
I'm curious as to whether the Pringle pants had a tube
attached. The strategically placed tube.
Aye, was it a family size tube, or was it just the wee individual one? What sort of flavour? Did the pants actually come with a complimentary tub of Pringles attached? Like, not just as a novelty item, but were they sold by the Pringles guy? Did it have a wee moustache on it?
Maybe just set his face over where your bobby is. Your bobby's his nose.
I mean, what are the eyes?
Novelty pants. I have nothing against novelty pants. Like, who cares?
Have you got a pair of novelty pants, Matty?
No, I did have a pair of what were they called? Bob bags, the Hibs ones. I got them as a present. They were decent, but I didn't have any novelty pants. I'm a great believer these days in folk can wear it wherever the fuck they want. Like years ago, I used to be hung up on it all. Do you know, like
used to be hung up on folks' choice underwear.
Well, not just the underwear, right? But you'd spend loads of money on fucking clothes and all the rest of it, and you think, fucking cares. That's kind of where I'm at these days. And see, like folk go, you're told to wear a football top. Fuck off! I'll wear a football top. I'll wear a football top. And folk that moan about, apart from skinny jeans, right, which are the exception to the rule. Folk that moan about other people wearing them, like, gives a fuck. If they're happy, who cares? That's if they're not bothering anybody, why would anybody else care what they were wearing?
I suppose you're right.
Aye.
I'm trying to think of a counter argument. No, I don't have one. The one I always go to is if I'm ever going out and if I'm ever out and I'm looking to buy clothes, I apply what would my mates say to me if I was to walk into the boozer wearing this test. And I think there is a way to not be bothered your arse about what you're wearing, but still not have folk look at you think, who put you together this morning?
Aye, did you get dressed in the dark?
Aye.
Like,
because at the moment I'm wearing like navy blue jeans and I've got red Homer Simpson socks on with a pair of black trainers because I've not really ventured far for the house today. I've not needed to. Tomorrow I'll put on a pair of black socks.
Yeah,
The
t-shirt
red
and
socks
shorts
are a
on the
bold
day.
statement. Like they didn't suit anything that I'm wearing right now.
Nah.
But they were available in the sock drawer, so I wore them. But that's the same sort of thing. Like I'd probably get ripped for that. Like, fucking state your socks. They're just socks.
Who gives a fuck, eh? What's that? I take care.
What do you think about like the novelty briefs at Christmas? So like Rudolph, rather than a Pringles can.
Right. So I wouldn't wear. They wouldn't be my go-to. Right. Same with Christmas jumpers and that. Kind of like you have like Christmas jumper day and that at work, and I'd rather fucking know. But you know, for the sake of it's one day of the year, put a Christmas jumper on. Fucking who cares?
One day of the year that you'll wear Rudolph over your cock. Is that what you're telling me?
That's it. With his fucking red nose.
Which is, do you know what? I'm actually, if anything, I'm offended by the waste that goes into novelty pants. Like
Aye.
for a really cheap laugh, like just go, don't bother. Like a lot of shit, a waste of money. The
You're never gonna
environmental
wear them.
impact is huge. Like you're not seeing Boris Johnson wandering about COP26 with a Pringles can doing his
Can't
trousers.
even wear a fucking mask. Never mind fucking novel underwear, John.
No.
Although
it's amusing to think about all these world leaders that have descended on Scotland that are all secretly wearing dodgy novelty underwear for like Ann Summers or wherever.
Aye. I just think it's a waste. You're right, it's a waste because unless you were somebody who routinely wore stuff like that, they're just getting them and going, oh yes, that's what I wanted from a fucking Secret Santa at work. Was a pair of Rudolph pants or Pringle pants or
I'd love to know if someone's found themselves like they've gone into their pants and socks drawer and that's been the last possible thing. Like all the other pairs of boxers or
Throw
drive
it
or
in
whatever
the wash,
are in
you're
the
like-
wash. You're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to wear that to my work.
aye.
Or worse,
It's the day
I'm gonna
there's a
have to wear
surprise
that to the
medical.
wives. Aye. Fuck, the boys are going to see me in the changing room. Try to think of different types of novelty pants. Like Rudolph's definitely one of them. I think giraffes and elephants are others, aren't they?
Things like
Maybe
that.
a wee strawberry flavoured set.
Aye. Yeah, wear what you want. That's what I say. Right, on that note, that's pretty much us, John. That was the last question. Good question, Neil. Right, what have we got coming up? We've got, well, no quick bangs because there's no fucking football. Hibs ladies are playing at the weekend, so I suppose if we go out to get along a game, they could go along that one.
Are they playing down at the Tony Mac? Or are they playing elsewhere?
Pass. I think it's at the Tony Mac.
You fill the airtime and I'll have a wee look on
Yeah,
Twitter.
in fact,
find
I'm
where
certain
the
it
ladies
is.
are
I just
playing.
can't remember who the opponent is. So no quick bangs, but we'll have long bangers on Monday. We might as well do long bangers on Monday, and we are gonna start. I think next week. So if you remember back the early days of Long Bangers, we did a few mental health episodes based around the changing rooms initiative that was on at East Road, the excellent changing rooms initiative, which I think is still on at the moment, back on. Since then, we've still kind of kept the hand in with mental health issues for various things. You know, for example, we've got a really excellent Long Bangers mental health kind of group chat with a load of guys, brilliant guys, who support each other and just kind of chat to each other when times are tough, etc. And so we thought now might be a good time to kind of revisit the podcast on the theme of mental health. So this range or series of podcasts will come out at some point. First one next week. Don't know quite how it'll sound yet. Heed Bangers, I think is what we're going to go for the name, and keeping with our Long Bangers or Bangers theme. So watch out for that. If you're interested in getting involved, then of course drop us a DM on Twitter or email us at longbangers@gmail.com, or we're also on Facebook as well, Longbangers. So find us there, drop us a note and get involved. Until then, John, it's been great having you on. I know you've been feeling a wee bit under the weather, so I hope you feel a bit better.
Get in there. Thank you.
I hope you feel a lot better, like a bit better. Seems quite mean-spirited, eh? Like, I hope you feel a lot better.
I hope you're ill for longer.
Aye.
Have a slow recovery.
I hope it hangs around for fucking ages. No, I hope you feel better soon. Right, until next time, thanks for listening. We'll see you later.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no,